mentioning today is Thursday, 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 baby. Yes, you know, honey, it is Throw Down Thursday. Going to be throwing it down with Antoine Mills. He got a hot one on tonight.
Probation and parole officer McGee observed having contact with his 14-year-old daughter. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Guilty or not guilty?
I'm guilty with a statement.
Okay. All right. At this time, if you want to, you can go ahead and give us your statement.
Yes, sir. The violation occurred with not intention. You know, at the time I wasn't at home and returning. She was brought there. When I returned, she was there with my mom. And that's how, and at that time, that's when me and Mr. McGee pulled up and I violated one of my rule, my 13 violation of rule.
Okay. Yes. Is there anything else you'd like to say on this case?
I wasn't trying to violate no terms of my parole. I was really trying to take care of everything I needed to take care of my terms of parole because I just had came home. There was only my fourth day of being home. I had just got out, sir. And now.
Okay. At this time, Mr. Nasa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've read the information in the file. I remember you, Antoine, from your parole hearing. I also remember your friends who are with us today, the Carusos. I've read the information Ms. Caruso provided us, so I don't have any particular questions this morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Pearl-Wise.
And Antonio, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
So if you are successful today, what do you understand you need to do to be around your daughter?
Well, I understand that either I get a consent from the board or the courts now, and that's really what I want. You know, I miss so much of my daughter's life. I don't want to do nothing but be able to be a father to her, man.
Okay. And now so if when you request consent and if the parole board says no, what do you understand that means?
I wouldn't be able to have any contact with her, man.
Okay. And now your guidelines said 18 or less. So she will have 5 years when she's 19, then you'll be able to have contact with her. If the parole board said, I don't know how long your parole is, but I just want to walk this out with you. I want to make sure you see this.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
is that what you understand? If you're going to ask for it, the parole board says no, it'll have to be when she turns 18 or 19.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, for you can start having one-on-one contact with her. Okay. All right, sir. That's all I had.
At this time, Ms. Anna Caruso will be speaking.
Hi, thank you for allowing me to speak. Could I ask Ms. Pearl a question? Just so I understand, so does that mean if the parole board says no, he cannot see his daughter, that means he could not see her unless the mother was present, or he could not see her at all?
Wait, let me read it because I got it circled. You are not allowed to have contact, including living in the residence with children under the age of 18, unless consent has been granted by the court and or the parole board. This includes your own children. So it's very vague. It does say contact.
Okay, I mean, I just want to make sure that, you know, just so I can help.
Thank you for
understand.
That. Thank you.
So he wouldn't be able to have any contact, according to that, if y'all say no, until 19 years old. Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome.
So I just wanted to say, you know, we picked up Antoine from Natchez. We were not able to pick him up the day that he got out, unfortunately, because we had work. So we went early the next morning. The whole way home, Antoine spoke about school, we set up his school account. We contacted the admissions office so that they would know he was transferring. His books have been delivered to my house. We really set up that facet. We talked about Antoine, what would he do for a job until he finished school? And we talked about his daughter, how much he wanted to be a parent to her and be there for her and make up for lost time. I guess I feel partially responsible. I am a clinical social worker. I guess I should have known better to say, hey man, you can't see your daughter. I missed it. I just wasn't thinking about that. And Antoine, I apologize to you. And I wish I would have been more aware. Of course, what Antoine did wrong was a carnal knowledge situation. It wasn't, I work with sexual abuse all the time. It's quite different, as I'm sure all of you know. It's unfortunate that that's how our law is set up right now, that is the same on paper as if you were actually molesting a child. And of course he wasn't. However, here we are. So I guess I'm just asking for your awareness that I believe Antoine is ready to be out and about. I think he is ready to face the world, to have a job, to finish school, and to take care of his little girl if he's allowed to. And I hope that we can set him on pace to do that. I hope we don't retract that opportunity because of this one error, which was more of just, I think, a cognitive error than anything else.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sam Carson?
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I think Anna stated that pretty well. I mean, nobody, at least we, were not clearly aware of what happened. I think the intent, as Antoine explained it, there was no ill intent there. It was a situation of circumstances. His girlfriend was picking him up to bring him to register as a sex offender when this occurred, and she was also dropping her child off with Antoine's mom, and it was just a crisscross. Antoine didn't really, as Anna said, do anything violent or as a normal sex offender type case way back when he picked up the first charge. We're not dealing with somebody here who's really a terrible plague on society. So, and it's true, we did talk about nothing but school and his daughter the whole way home. And in fact, I am sitting here right now, Antoine, with all of your textbooks from the college. So these are the books that were mailed to him from Ashland University for him to complete his degree work. And I think it's pretty clear from everything that we've seen and heard, and from, I hope, from the first parole hearing that we had back in November, that Antoine does have good people around him, and he may need some folks to help him with the clarity of some things, but we're definitely committed to that. And I ask for you to have some mercy in this situation, and I would hope that you would grant him permission to see his daughter, at least in the mother's presence. That's it.
All right. Thank you very much. At this time, I see Mr. Sean's girlfriend. Just unmute your mic. Okay.
Hello. Yes. I would just like for the parole board to release Antoine and give consent for him to be a father to his daughter. He's missed out on so many years, and this here was just a situation, and it was a mistake, and it was a miscommunication amongst adults, and I hope he's not punished for this mistake.
All right. Thank you very much. At this time, Antoine, anything you'd like to say to the board before we vote?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, at this time, the board Okay, at this time, the board will vote. This case is mine. I vote to do not revoke and continue your supervision. And that you have no contact with this unless it's something that the parole board, the probation parole has that you can. But right now, there's no way that we can establish that. So today I said, do not revoke and continue supervision. Ms. Renata?
I do concur. My vote today is do not revoke. We'll need, and this is to the Carusos, we do need the formal request for the contact with the daughter so that the board can consider it. So if you all will, after Ms. Wise votes, if you all will stay on, staff will give you some information on how to send that in to us. So, but my vote today is do not revoke, return to supervision.
Ms. Pearl?
Yes, sir. I concur. My vote is the same, to do not revoke, return to supervision, with a special condition that you report weekly to probation parole for the first 4 weeks. And as a sidebar, Antonio, give a copy of all the documents probation parole give you to your supporters so they can help you understand it. I know when you're in the office, you say yes to a lot of stuff you really don't understand. So give a copy to Caruso so they can help you understand. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And report it for 4 weeks to your probation officer weekly. Give you an opportunity to get acquainted with your office so y'all can get on the same team. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you, Chip.
Okay, so we're actually going to, after this, then watch his parole hearing that took place 4 months before this one. Now, it's his only, he doesn't show up because this was a time during COVID. So it's, he's not there, but his supporters are there. They talk in more detail about it. It's just, not super interesting. So they don't want to start with that. But if you're curious, we can go and you can watch it. But in a nutshell, his supporters, I don't know, she's not very good at math. I think they very clearly said anyone under the age of 18, until his daughter's under the age of 18, and she comes back with, oh, okay, until she's 19. And then she starts talking about how carnal knowledge isn't really molestation of a juvenile. And and I'm like, what are you talking about? That's like, it was just kind of bizarre to me. The legislation clearly states, and I thought Ms. Renata would call her out on that, but it clearly states that felony carnal knowledge of juvenile, what it is. A person who is 17 years of age or older, who has intercourse or consent, with consent with a person who is 13 years of age or older, but less than 17 years of age. So at the best case scenario, he was, I checked the date on when he committed the crime, and he was 19 years old. So in the best case scenario, she was 16. Now, I agree on this sense that they shouldn't have a blanket sex offender law where he can't be with his daughter if he was 19 and the girl is 16. To me, I agree. That's insane. That's just come on. Really? Because it's two different type of offenders. There's one who is like a total, monster, and this other is just, 19 and 16, frankly, is probably something that happens quite often. I don't really, I just, now it's possible that she was 14. But even then, I don't think the blanket law should apply. It just doesn't seem to make sense to me, right? Like it should be, if anything, case by case basis. But yeah, he's got quite a storied past. He was in prison 11 years before finally getting out. He was shot 7 times before that. He lost 3 feet of his intestines and his kidney. But I think the good news is that he does seem to have great support around him, albeit unless they were just claiming that it was their fault in his best interest, right? Which could be what they were doing. Maybe they're falling on the sword for him. But man, at the beginning of the hearing, Jim Wise, he definitely said, he was talking to the parole officer's daughter, and Jim Wise is just, I'm going to show you the beginning of how this hearing went with Jim Wise, because it's one of the classic Jim Wise. It's the way that he fumbles this hearing is I think just fun. So here they all are. I think they're waiting on Jim Wise patiently.
Mr. Wise, I believe we're ready to open up at tangible.
She tells him, "Hey Jim, we're ready." He has his mic on mute. That's not a surprise. Right now we're going on, I think we're going like 40 seconds into the interview. And look at Ms. Renaud's face.
You're on mute, Mr. Wise.
Can you imagine having had to work with them? I think he was the longest.
Today we're at the Tangipahoa Parish Prison. On the panel today, be myself, Jim Wise. I'll be chairing, also Miss Cheryl Renatza and Miss Pearl Wise. Over at Tangipahoa, who will be the staff over there today?
Hi, that would be Deputy Ferdinand, 592.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes,
At this time, we'll be asking you some questions. Did you have a preliminary probation preliminary where you had signed your
You can't make this up.
decision?
Yes, sir.
You see, I saved you guys.
Do you have it there with you, or do we have a copy there at the office?
I spare you
We can
guys
show
from
it.
this.
I think they should have. I think you should have a copy, sir.
Okay, do you have it there?
No, sir.
you talking about the parole revocation questionnaire?
There we go.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we have it right here.
Okay, is that your signature at the bottom, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. I'm gonna, did you?
See all the editing I do for you to save you some of your soul. Poor Mr. Renatza. And they had to work with, he was the longest serving parole board member, I think,
Mr.
ever.
Mills, did you have an appointed counsel?
Like 16 years he served on the board.
No, sir.
Can you imagine? Like, why?
Did you have an appointed counsel at your revocation here?
No, sir.
Okay. Have you had any kind of counsel at any of your hearings?
No, sir.
Okay. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to read you out your rules violation. And your rules violation is rule number 13.
And listen to this.
Your probation and parole officer McGee observed having contact with his 14-year-old daughter. Is that correct?
So I wasn't wrong. Jim Wise did, in fact, state that he was caught with his parole officer's daughter. And man, see, because when I first heard that, I said, whoa, this is going to be a case. But of course, it was just a Jim Wise. So we'll jump into this hearing. This hearing took place 4 months before the hearing we just saw. I personally had to listen to this on 1.5 and 2x speed. You do you. We'll jump in and then, yeah, thank you, Richard, for putting all this info together. With that, let's go.
Okay, I see Ms. Holmes. Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Cheryl Renatza. I'm serving as chairman of today's parole panel. My colleagues on the panel today are Mr. Alvin Roche and Ms. Pearl Wise. I'm going to just read a little information about Mr. Mills into the record, and then I'm going to ask we'll hear from those folks who've indicated they'd like to speak. on Antoine's behalf, and then Ms. Wise will discuss the interview she had with him last week sometime. So this is the case, as was introduced, this is the case of Antoine Mills, DOC number 519083. Mr. Mills is classified as a third felony offender. He was sentenced November 13, 2009 as a habitual offender for possession with intent to distribute cocaine. He received a 15-year DOC sentence. He has another sentencing date, April 28, 2016, for contraband, for which he received a 1-year sentence. Those are running consecutively, so it's a total of 16 years DOC time. He has a parole eligibility date, which was August 26, 2012. His good time release date is March the 1st, 2023, with a full term date, June 13, 2024. So we'd like to hear from the folks who indicated they'd like to speak. If we could start with Miss Joanne Mills. Ma'am, could you unmute your microphone? There you go.
Hi.
Introduce
Hi,
yourself.
sister.
Tell us your relationship to Mr. Mills.
I'm his sister.
And state your name again for the record.
Joanne Mills, and I'm his sister.
All right. Okay, great. Thanks, Miss Mills. What would you like us to know about your brother?
I'm gonna try to talk without crying. He's my everything. He was my first baby before I even had kids. So we like two peas in a pod. So I'm anxious for him to come home. And when he come home, I'm gonna make sure that he stays on the right track. He get him a job. He go back and forth to his parole officer. I'm gonna stay on him. That's
Well,
about it.
good. He's lucky to have your support. We
Yes.
appreciate
He's
we
like
appreciate
my
you being
baby.
here with us.
He's
Yes,
like my
ma'am.
baby.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So could we hear now from Miss Eva Holmes? Miss Holmes, can you unmute your microphone? Looks like she might be trying to figure out how to unmute it. Miss Holmes?
Ms. Holmes, if you'll dial star 6, it'll unmute your.
There you go. I think you're unmuted now, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Go
Well,
ahead
I'm
and
his
introduce
mother.
yourself to us. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Miss Eva Holmes. I'm Antoine Mills' mother.
All right. What would you like us to know?
Well, when he get out, he will be living with me, and I'm gonna make sure that he has his own room. I have lights, water, and everything. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna pay his parole for him until he get him a job and get him situated. Everything gonna be taken care of when he get home, and I just can't wait till my baby come home.
Well, thank you, ma'am. We appreciate you spending some time with us this morning. And we have Mr. Caruso. Mr. Caruso, we'd like to hear from you.
Good morning, I guess it is over there.
Yeah.
I'm in South Carolina. Apologies for the noise. I didn't know what time to expect this. I'm at a conference, so I stepped out of lunch and I'm in an outside environment. I hope you can hear me okay.
We can. Yes, we can.
I believe you received a letter from probably my wife.
We did. Yes.
Okay. I've known Antoine since he was about 12 years old. Antoine is a good-hearted kid who made a lot of mistakes because his situation was not always perfect for him. Antoine had some environmental challenges, and I think my wife alluded to some of that for you already.
He did.
I was the guy who attended parent-teacher conferences for Antoine throughout high school. I worked directly with his principal to assist him in getting his GED program done, which he ultimately finished while he was in prison in Natchitoches. The mistakes that Antoine made were largely due to, I believe, Antoine's inability, genuinely inability to think through complicated situations and make some good choices based on his additional challenges from the time he was a child. But he's not a bad kid. He was never a bad kid, and he wasn't a bad adult. I think he deeply regrets making some of the choices he made in terms of being with friends he was with, doing some of the things he did with those friends that got him into the situation he's in today. Antoine and I have spoken fairly regularly during his time in various incarceration centers. My wife and I attended his graduation. I believe it was in Natchitoches. I met him before I was married, and he really was. He's like always been like a little son to me, and you know, I think he let himself down. He certainly let a lot of us down, but I don't blame him as much as I blame his entire set of circumstances. And I know that just based on my conversations with him over the years, he knows what he needs to do. He knows what he needs not to do. He knows the environments he needs to stay away from. He knows the decisions he needs to make and not make. And he will have our full support, regardless of any other situation he happens to land in. He can always rely on my wife and I to do whatever we can for him, knowing that he also has to have the maturity and the sense to make good decisions on his own. Mm-hmm. And I believe in my heart that he will do that, given the chance. And if in cooperation with his family and his friends and his new contacts when he comes out and his parole officer, if he consults with the parole officer and continues to do the things he needs to do, gets himself into a job, got his welding training, he'd be a fantastic employee for a number of different types of industries. He's a strong young man. He can work warehouses. He can do welding. He can do a number of blue collar jobs. He is intelligent beyond what he may appear sometimes. And I give him credit for working very hard before and after his incarceration to improve himself every day. I just wish that you guys would see him for the young kid that he was when he made these mistakes and understand that he's gone a long way. He really is not a risk to society. He really never was a risk to society. He was in the wrong car at the wrong time with the wrong people. He was barely of age when he had a girlfriend who was not. I mean, there were just lots of things that were just right on the line for Antoine. And I truly believe if Antoine had other circumstances around him, maybe had been in a different place other than St. Anthony Parish, he wouldn't be where he is today. And I believe that he deserves and will honor a chance to come out and make a good life for himself and be a productive member of society.
Thank you, Mr. Caruso. We appreciate you stepping out of your conference to share those thoughts with us. We appreciate it.
Sure.
Ms. Wise, would you share with us your interview?
Yes. I had the opportunity to interview Antoine on November 12th of 2020 in the presence of Ms. Laverne Hill of the detention center. And he indicated that he's been in jail since 2009, March 2nd, 2009. He said he was 22 at the time he came to jail, and he's 35 now. His charges with possession with intent to distribute cocaine. I asked him about the impact of his distribution on his community, and he states that he understands that it brings the community down, being a negative peer group, and drug destroys people's lives, the user and the dealer. he has a low risk assessment. And I asked him, we talked about his age when he first got arrested, and he said it was 15. He was 15 when he first got arrested. He's never been on supervision before. All of his charges was kind of right together now, so he had no prior supervision periods. He's already been stated. He obtained his GED March 16th of 2017. He has 270 days of programs. He explained to me that he completed the core curriculum for the welding trade, but he did not complete the welding. So that's something that's still pending. Asking about substance abuse, and he said that he was actually more of a sports person. So he was a dealer and not a user. So he experimented with marijuana and alcohol like around age 19. He does have that prior sex offense, and it's unclear what's going to be his requirements. He said that he was sent to the diversion program. It's already been stated. I think he was 18 and the girlfriend was a minor, but he got a new charge, so he don't really know the status of that either. Medical, he explained that he is in good health, but he was shot when he was on July 17th of 2017. So he was shot 7 times. He lost a kidney and 3 feet of his intestines. But he said some guys was trying to rob him. But other than that, he said he's in real good health. And he indicated he has no mental health challenges, never been diagnosed with anything as a youth or as an adult. Currently, he said he's not in a job. He's attending Ashland University. This is his 2nd semester, majoring in business management, and he has a 3.0 GPA. His job history, he said, was construction and drywall and janitorial services. I asked him about if he would release what jobs would he pursue. He said that he fell in love with welding and he was doing good. So the instructor complimented him a great deal. The staff, the teachers were very encouraging to him that he really was a good welder. Miss Laverne, she verified he had no write-ups there when he indicated he had never had only had in-house write-ups of aggravated disobedience in 2018. We talked about the community and public officials, the mixed response with the DA, the judges, and sheriffs. Some opposed and some unopposed, and we talked about that. Now, he indicated he would like to live with a friend who he sees as a mentor, Michelle Randall, and he gave her phone number. He also gave his mother's address as well. He also said that and his sister, Miss Cheryl Rudolph, she will be providing transportation. Asking about his goals, 1 year out, he hoped to have a job, a bank account, and start being in a church, be closer to God, be a better father to his 13-year-old daughter. Asked him what he'll be doing in 5 years. He said he hoped to be in his own home, living productive, living better, and be well off than he's ever been, maintaining his jobs and paying his own bills, and have good credit. I asked about his barriers. He said that he thinks his only barrier is if he don't try. He said that he gonna have to, his only barrier will be himself. He said that if he's granted parole, he's going to complete his parole. He said, I'm ambitious enough to be a productive citizen and not be a part of the revocation rate. This returning back is over with, and I'm not returning back to jail. That concludes the overview of my interview with him. I had made a statement because of the mentors, because he told me that he really stepped out at age 12 and went knock on somebody's door. I think it was Mr. Sam's door to want to mow the yard or something at age 12 because he was looking for an honest way to make money. And he talked about how you stayed in his life. So I told him, you were just bad then. You had people around you who wanted to help you. You were just bad. And Ms. Laverne's at the detention center, she agreed. She said that he looked like he was just bad, but of course, at the facility, he has done well.
Thank you, Ms. Wise. Mr. Roche, you have any comments or questions, observations? I'm sorry, you're still muted.
Ms. Wise, good report. I have no comments or observations.
Yes, I agree. I was struck by what he said about how he fell in love with welding. That was it was like he's really proud to have that job skill that he never had before. So I was really struck by his letter that he wrote. So I don't have any other questions or comments. Ms. Wise, can you offer your recommendation and your vote?
My vote is that we grant his parole after a transitional work program, with it noted that if he's unsuccessful and don't qualify for TWP, that he be paroled. It's due to his good institutional record, the low title score, 270 hours of programs, good family support, good community support, and that he also he get approved residence before he's released, because there's some difference there in what he said and the possibilities of his residence plan that probation parole help him decide on the approved residence plan. And once he's on supervision, that he perform community service at least 8 hours a month. That is my recommendation.
Thank you, Ms. Wise. Mr. Roche.
Madam Chairman, I'm in agreement with Ms. Wise's decision to grant Mr. Mills. And I'm also in agreement with the transitional work program. And if he's not eligible for any reason for the transitional work program, automatically grant his parole.
Thank you, Mr. Roche. And I too agree. My vote it would be to grant his parole after the work release program. But if he's not able to get into the work release program, that we parole him outright with the same special conditions that Ms. Wise has articulated. So he's received a unanimous vote, a favorable vote. So we wish him well. Thank you all for being here with us today. We appreciate your participation.
Oh, my goodness, my goodness. Listen, I got to holler. Let me get on to the music. This is called Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. So listen, Mr. Antoine Mills, throwing down his first tracks in 2007. What? That's the beginning. That's the beginning. That's the beginning. The beginning. And that's God's perfect number, my dog. Listen, y'all check this out. It's called Talk to Me. I love it. It's hot, spicy, and anything coming out of Louisiana, you know it's good, baby. That's the hometown. That's my hometown. I love me some Louisiana, baby. Yes, it's in my blood, baby. Listen, we're going to tie a knot in this one because it's for keeps, my darling. It's called Talk to Me. You better talk to me up in here.